Welcome to the program. It is Hook and Cover, and let's get right to it. We'll get Fred White's thoughts on what went down in Tennessee's absolute horrible loss to Florida at Neyland Stadium. Also, Gerald Riggs will make a special appearance, both visited with us on Sport Talk on WGOW. Let's start with Fred's assessment of the game.
Whew. Man, it was tough. 3 turnovers. 3 turnovers in the first half, 21 points off those turnovers. And you look at the score, Florida's nowhere near 26 points better than Tennessee. But you can't give anybody 6 turnovers. You know, the irony of that to me was that the national championship year, we had 6 turnovers that we caused against Florida, and we gave up 6 turnovers in this game 20 years later. That's the irony of it.
That is ironic.
It's kind of like, you know, they made the plays that we didn't. Offensively, we got to find ways to give our boys a chance to win. And I'm saying that in the aspect of we have some athletes on the outside. And to be honest with you, that's where the best part of our team is. Our receivers are the best part of this football team. Callaway can get open. He can catch the ball downfield one-on-one. Shoot, man, I'm telling you right now, and I'm nothing against Palmer. I think Palmer's a really good fit and a really good player for us. Can be a big play guy for us. But I'm telling you right now, if Gerald Riggs is on that football team, he should be your number 2 option, if not number 1.
Why is he not?
I don't know that yet. I don't know what he's doing on practice, and I know he didn't practice a lot, in the spring, and he was suspended for the spring, came back in the summer, and he was injured still, that type of stuff. I get it, but man, him and Callaway and Palmer, those 3 should be your top 3 receivers going forward. Period. If you're the 3 receivers set and you're throwing the ball, in some combination, those 3 guys need to be on the football field together. They're your playmakers right now. Now, I still like Chandler. I think he's good, but playing against these good teams we got coming up in the SEC, where they're going to get better to get pressure with their front 4, Georgia next week, Auburn the week after, Alabama, we got to find ways to have some one-on-one matchups with our receivers on the outside. And I think that's our best matchups.
Your thoughts on the offensive line? I mean, they look like they really just overmatched big time, and that's we're talking about Florida, not Georgia or Alabama or Auburn, like you mentioned.
Well, I mean, Florida actually has more sacks this season than Georgia does, and Georgia only has 3, I think, for the season. I mean, Florida's not bad when it comes to defense. Offensively, they're not that good. I mean, they didn't have that many yards at all. We pretty much gave them everything they had. I mean, 21 points off turnovers. Whenever you get a turnover, you go up, you try to score. And they succeeded. It's kind of easy to do that when you give the ball away 3 times inside the 30. And if you look at the defense in the second half, they didn't give up a whole lot when it comes to yards. They really didn't. And offensively, we got to find ways to keep those guys off the field. We got to find ways to not give the opposite team the ball with 30 yards or less to go in and score. I mean, this is Division I football. This is SEC football. And, of course, our coaches didn't plan it that way, but it happened, So we got to find ways to not do that. Find ways to beat that situation. And, I mean, we went downfield some. We had to, really. But to be honest with you, man, that's our best option right now. If we can show teams we can throw the ball deep, it'll open up running lanes for your running game. Because they'll have to start helping out with the safeties in the passing game, helping out their corners, those type of things. It opens up running lanes, and it also opens up the short passing game as well. I mean, I know right now we see the short game going on, those type of things, that West Coast offense style, that type of stuff. And we did hit some balls downfield. We did start hitting balls downfield even more. to start games out because you don't have a lot of chance to win these next 3 games.
No, they don't.
You have to be if you don't have a chance to win a game, Dave. When we played the video game, like you was telling people years ago, when you realize, oh crap, it's going to be tough to win this game, you got ultra aggressive, didn't you?
Maybe a little bit.
That's pretty much the only option at that point. I'm looking at it from a standpoint of, if I know I can't line up mano a mano and beat these guys, I got to find a way to be uber aggressive on the defensive side of the ball and on the offensive side of the ball. I got to find ways to get the ball out of their quarterback hands as fast as possible so that my guys will have a chance to break on those balls. Now, I know putting freshmen and safeties in zero coverage right now, maybe iffy, but here's the thing. You give them a better chance, in my opinion. I would come out and be uber aggressive. I mean, like, I would blitz all the time. Zone blitz, man blitz, whatever, on defense. And on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, I'm trying to take the top off of every chance I get. Every series, we're going to have at least one deep ball thrown. Just simply to give your team a chance to win some, to get a momentum going, to do something to the other team to make them say, okay, well, these guys are not giving up. They are uber aggressive. We got to find ways to stop them.
Did you see any, because there's one thing as a critique that I rarely ever do, because I don't know what these guys are going through. I rarely critique effort and whether or not a team may have quit. But with all the things that went bad, how would you describe the effort?
There's a kid that played at Nebraska, had a press conference last week, and he talked about guys buying in.
Yeah.
And anytime you have a new coach, that's something that you're going to run into. Because some guys have their agenda. Some guys have, those old habits die hard, those type of things. And then some guys will say, okay, coach, I'm willing to do whatever you ask me to do. To be honest with you, if you're on any football team, if you don't understand that's the only way to do it, is the way our coach wants us to do it, not my way, not I think this is better. The guy who's calling the shots is the coach. His way is the only way. His way. So if you tell you to take a step with your left foot and then you come with your right second, that's what you do. If you say a step with your right foot and then you spin around and pair away, that's what you do. You got to buy in. There's a reason for everything. And the system, it's been shown to work at other locations. Now you got to get your guys up to speed, and you just got to get guys to buy in 100%. I can't say that they are. I can't say that they aren't. I'm not in that locker room, but from a sideline standpoint, from a Monday morning quarterback standpoint, I still see some of that.
Fred, great stuff, man. Hopefully we can visit with you here down the road after a big Tennessee win. How about that?
And that would be great.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
Man, that would be great.
Fred, take care.
I have not given. Let me say this.
Yes.
I have not given up on my football team. I will never do that. I've been there through thick and thin. Well, I always be there through thick and thin. And I don't think that everything is lost. It's continue to work, get better, and if you see the same mistakes happening throughout the year, I promise you, this coaching staff will find other players that say, okay, well, he may not be as talented, but he's going to do it the way we want it done.
Fred, real quick, we've only got about a minute, but your thoughts on the whole Cortez Sapp being asked to leave when maybe he was asked to go in the game. He has said that wasn't the case, but how big of a red flag is that?
I'm going to let that play out first before I comment on it, because I don't know exactly what happened.
Okay.
And the truth always come out in the wash. I mean, so it'll come out soon. But if a coach asks you to go in the game and you don't go in the game, that's ultimate disrespect, and that's grounds for actually kicking someone off your football team.
Yeah, I'd agree, too.
If it didn't exactly happen like that, then you may actually give the kid a second chance. But that's what we talk about when we talk about buying in. If you're not going to go in the game when I actually go in the game, there's no need for you to be here.
Amen.
So I don't know if that happened or not. I don't know exactly what that is. I want to make sure before I make a comment about that situation that all the truth comes out first.
And now we get to Gerald Riggs, his thoughts on what Tennessee's program is undergoing.
I mean, personally, I'm good, man. I mean, it was a rough weekend, obviously, and it was hard to watch. But it's been, the thing about it, everybody asking, hey, what's the problem? What do we do? Why can't we seem to get this thing together? What's the problem with Pruitt? And then the first thing I wanted to get to is, hey, look, the staff is not the issue here. Okay, so you hear a bunch of people saying, hey, these guys should have had them prepared. They should have been, at least done better than that. That's not the case, all right? You cannot automatically I don't care who it is, right? I don't care if we had got, Nick Saban to come to Tennessee, okay? You have to basically breed out the issues that came before you. And let's not forget that this is the same group of guys that lost every game in the SEC last year.
Right.
So you're not, this wasn't, some you don't have some magical thing where all of a sudden because some new coach comes in that they're going to be different guys. And that's going to happen all in the span of a year's time. It just doesn't work that way. So people have to understand that, when you have a coach, or should I go back and say this? When you had a coach who every moment was too big for him, who did not know how to coach in big games, who did not know how to get guys ready for the big time, you saw what the result was, and you're still seeing that because those guys are still around.
Roster,
you're not going to breed that out in one season.
Roster is the issue.
What's that?
The guys on the roster, they're the issue.
Yeah. I mean, it's the guys on the roster. And I go back to when I was in school, the years that everybody, loves and wants to go back to, the early, the late, the 90s, and then, the early 2000s. There was a standard that was set. You had guys that, there had been some success. So guys knew how to play in big games. They knew how to live in the moment. The team, but of yourself, that says, hey, look, I'm not going to go out here and let somebody kick my teeth in front of everybody that I care about and that supports me, on a Saturday afternoon. That's got to be something that's in them to have, and you can't. You can't make guys feel that way. You have to. They either have that or they don't.
Right.
And that's what it boils down to, is just the type of guys that we've been recruiting over time. Not to say that some of those guys don't care, because I'm sure they do. And I know, and I know those guys, really want to do well. But there's the difference between wanting to do well and knowing how to do well, and that's the issue. You got a staff in there that knows, and you got a staff in there that's proven. A lot of former players, former NFL guys that have played, or a lot of coaches that have won in this conference, so they know what it takes. It's just a matter of the guys listening, being able to take coaching, being able to be able to check their ego at the door and say, hey, look. Got a new guy in here. He's going to show me how it's done. I have to be willing to listen to everything he's trying to tell me and then take the ownership on themselves to go out and put that work onto the field.
That's Hook and Cover. We'll talk to you next time. Start to get ready for Tennessee, Georgia. Doesn't get any easier.